All right, I'm going to try this again, and I'm going to just go with it. It's not apparently showing me like it's actually recording. Ah, here we go. So, patience and another moment of opportunity. We're all good. So, I'm going to share two things today, briefly. One is um, my key word from Spirit today is joy, and they emphasized joy, meaning some of the energies that I had been feeling. Maybe quite a few people had been feeling a lot of oy vey, over circumstances in their country and around the world. And they just were showing me today about how important it is to make sure to add the J to oi, and let joy be manifested and appreciated as I create it and as it demonstrates to me. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I've noticed over the last number of years, especially, it's always been somewhat for me, that I have really some challenging, difficult moments when rapid um, visuals and energetics are shifting in front of me. So, for example, any of the movies where people are in massive chases, or in the Star Wars things when everything is kind of like going at you, like the universe is going the speed of light at everything, or um, very more recently it seems to have gotten more I'm more sensitive to multiple screens happening all at once. Not the Zoom so much with this, but where um, there seems to be this rapid back and forth shots that you know TV and film are doing that just have been an issue. So I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I was trying to meditate with that and realizing that I have several tools to manage that. One is just close my eyes and breathe. Another is to become a point that I focus on and let the shifting happen around that, or combination of those two things. But with that, it is about centering, and sometimes that word is used, and not everybody has the same definition of what that means. But for me, it is that place within my being. It's like the core essence. My presence is present to allowing anything and everything to exist without interrupting and interfering with that energetic core of my being. So it's a practice, and it's something that I've been more aware of in the context of these things, which tend to just not just distract me, but really feel overwhelming at times. The multiple or the rapid stuff that's very popular, it seems. So I'm just sharing that. So I have tools for that, and usually I'm fine. Sometimes it's something more dramatic in terms of my own energy to just really shut down or go away or something. But usually within a few moments, I can have my closing my eyes, have a deep breath, call my centering back, and then when I open my eyes, so it may only be a few moments, I look for a point that is my focus, that I don't try to follow everything. So, for whatever that's worth, I hope you can find some value for yourself in that, or someone you know. And now it is time to leave my consciousness of this moment. So, enjoy, everyone, and I'll be back in a short while. Greetings, beloved friends of the I Am. I am known as Morya, and I am here to share, to teach, to present with you an idea of law. Many laws on the human realm have been made and changed and remade to serve communities, to serve nations. And conflict occurs the broader the community is, where the law may not be allowing for the distinct needs of that community or an aspect of that community. So we're not going to address at great length about human law, but that be aware that if you see laws changing in a manner of function that is not serving, then stay to the truth of your inner law of God being, so that you might continue to serve by bringing knowledge, wisdom, and new grace, we might say, to the reality of how those laws are and how they might be shifted. There is, however, the primary reason we are sharing about law, to define with you the immutable law. Human laws change. The result of the laws as to how those things are met with compliance or not. All of that is the underwritings of those laws. But the law of the life, the love, and the frequency of creation is one. And it is immutable. It does not change and cannot. So we call it law because it is. Whether someone follows it consciously or not, whether someone deliberately breaks that law, as it might be referred in the human world, or accidentally or unconsciously does that, it does not change the result, which is set in motion by the law itself. So the many laws, as they're broken down, oftentimes are referred to as the law of karma or consequence. There could be the law of balance. There's lots of laws as they're interpreted to teach how important it is to find the place of your being that already knows in the wholeness who you are, and that you are here to honor that law. So would you then, from where you are now, break human laws consciously? Many of you do. Many of you do. And maybe the consequences have not come to meet you. For example, what is a consequence of breaking a human law? Being caught at it or somehow accused of it and facing trial and execution, not necessarily meaning execution of the physical body, but execution of the requirement of law to restrain, contain, punish in some way. And yet, many go unnoticed, unacknowledged from within or even from the community without. So when I say many of you, my beloved friends, break the laws consciously, we're not judging you for that. It is your gamble, isn't it? Playing at what you call the odds in favor of you getting away with all of that, whatever all that would be. Probably one of the most frequently challenged of the laws is in your vehicle, the driving of your vehicle in your roads, in your parking lots, and all the places where your vehicle is in motion or where your vehicle is standing still. You know, how many miles over the suggested law of a speed limit do you commonly drive your vehicle? See, I'm not judging, but be aware, and we almost make it to be a joke with you because it is to the point that you know most of the laws that are set by human culture in your world, in your community, in your state, in your country, and you choose most of the time quite consciously, if not in a moment deliberately, by the nature of your inner window of How far can you go before you get caught or before the consequence hits hard? So some laws like that may not seem as serious as, say, thou shalt not kill, or violence against another human in your world would be, if one was caught, punished, executed into jail term and or eventuality, in some places physical death. So most would not risk playing that consciously. So what happens in the law of all that is, that love is the creative frequency, that all things that step outside of that in an effort, consciously or unconsciously, to control or manipulate that, will have its consequence, which is what people think of as karma. If not now, you know, somewhere in your reality of life. You are never going to change that law. You are never, in this life or any life, going to get away with breaking those aspect of laws that the universe's creation lives in. It is not a law set like a human standard where if you do this, then the consequence will be something bad. It will just be as it is. When you act lovingly receiving then energies of that love from however and wherever your world is open with you in that. When you have acts of unconscious or conscious dissociation from love with another human or with a community or with anything in animal world, there is a consequence not meant to punish you but to balance and teach. So it is stern that I speak about this law, because we do not want to warn you, we want to enlighten you. That when you break human laws, there will be consequences if you break the law with an energy that is not aligned with love and with balance. So even if you do not get caught by police and prosecutors and so forth, when your energy of breaking a human law is motivated by anger, rage, fear, confusion, those elements of human emotion will require you to face that, heal that, be in transmutation of that, into healing of that. Because the consequence is always part of that law, the one law. Do you want to live without worry about laws? Good. It's pretty simple. Heal your emotional body. Align all that is within your emotional body as held patterns of neglect and confusion into the reunion within, into the oneness. Recognize that when we speak of the law of love, we're not talking about romance. You already know that. We're not talking about do nicey nice things with one another. That's perhaps an expression of that for you. But that proves nothing if you haven't healed your heart completely. It proves nothing in the law. So the primary opportunity to be living in the law, as the law, not as judge, jury, prosecutor, or victim in any way, but at element of the nature of oneness. That is your goal in human incarnation, to find that place of love that forgives everything, that lets go of attachment to things. So many different focus of spiritual paths have been teaching these things. However you choose, whatever method you choose, the introspection, self-examination must never be in order to blame and judge yourself. It is to know yourself. And then knowing, loving, all of that as a child, let us say a tiny child, just learning to walk, barely walking on its feet, crawling maybe still most of the time in its body, reaches for things which are right near his grasp and are of a curious thing to him, and he pulls on it, and perhaps something is toppled over, perhaps something is broken, perhaps something is just simply entangled. In your hear of the crash or the cry of the child, you might in that moment be moved by the emotional fear. In all that, you might be entangled yourself. Yet you do as you must do. You untangle. You clean up that which was broken or somehow fallen. You hold the child, assuring the child that there is no error in learning and loving itself and growing. And you love impeccably. Why are you not so kind with yourself? Because at some point, the child grows to learn and know better. It is assumed, isn't it, that there's a certain age when you should know better, that these things we've been telling you and teaching you, and we, whoever that is, the parents, the family unit, the community. But you learn as you learn. You grow as you grow. Be kind. Be kind with the self, so that therefore that kindness, compassion, and love is expressed with all. The I am is the expression in true creation. It is not just a body of light that you can call into yourself, that surrounds yourself. It is your whole self. And the I am knows only the essence of love, of the frequency of allowance, the frequency of expressiveness. All creation is accepted. God I am, as God thou art. And in the God, Goddess, the divine, the energy of that which is love, creation is you. Everything you speak, everything you think, everything you act is the law in action. Oh, it may not be intended consciously that the action and the words are misaligned with the essence of that law, but the law allows for that, and therefore has no judgment, but correction, if you will, by balance. So think on these things just for a few moments. Dwell in the state of that frequency. If for every practice you have played in throughout the course of your life in this body, whether it is to practice your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, to practice your clairsentient nature, whether it is to practice your wisdoms and the sharing, there's lots of practices. If for all of that you simplify your practice to self-love, then those other things come in ease as they are the part of your nature. We're not saying you're wasting time or not appropriate, but imagine if you put that much energy into aligning with love. We know no other word that most humans would relate with. So we change that word from time to time into frequency or divine. It's important that you know the energy of it, that you live in that. Not so much that the name of it, whatever that it is, of all life. So in the name of I am, I proclaim thou art as one, with one another, with all life expressed. You are one with the ascended realms, the angelic realms, the intergalactic realms of consciousness as it expresses throughout all. You are one with that. I'll let Saint Germain at some point give you reminders about what you think of as boundaries and the necessity of them for your human, emotional, and mental life. So be it. It doesn't mean you are not one. To have a boundary, however you want to define that, you are still one. And as you become centered in that power, you will also feel at ease that the boundary is fluid, because it is not necessary for the emotional and mental physical body to be anything other than complete flow of expression of who you are. That's a big lesson. That's a big understanding we are giving you. So we're not saying no boundaries. We're saying let that conversation happen. Know that if you live in your own law, the frequency of that one law, that the human laws become easier to navigate, to redirect and change according to the consciousness that is in service for all. Thank you for your presence with who I am, as expressed here. Hello. So notice within you today the J-O-Y. Notice the joy that expresses a lot of for a lot of individuals now. And where it's not there, you can't force it, can you? Even in yourself. But just for fun, have to play with putting the J into oi. Some of my, over quite a number of years now, I made up with Daryl and a few close friends that we simplified when life was feeling struggling in some way, or, we would say oi vey, and then we would say OFV. Sort of simplifying that it's way more than just oi vey, it's oi, you know what, vey. So I'm not surprised that we were showing me today that, remember, You can have grief and grievance and whatever the oy might mean, and just put some joy into it. So thank you, my friends. Have a beautiful day. And until next time, peace.